hanging up his skates after what has been a marvelous ride. You see the accomplishments, the achievements. You saw Game 1000, and twice his name is on Lord Stanley's Cup. We welcome in Andrew Ladd. When you were watching that, particularly you hoisting the cup as a Chicago Blackhawk, what was it like to see those images again?
Yeah, it's great. I think that one of the best parts about, having a moment like this is being able to look back and realize what you're able to be a part of and the people that played a role and the stuff you were able to achieve. So a moment like that and all the hard work and effort that went into that, all the moments with the teammates and struggle, throughout the regular season or throughout the playoffs and what you have to get through to win that, it brings back a lot of those moments. So it's fun to reminisce now and think about, achieving the greatest thing you can achieve as a hockey player.
1,001 games, Andrew. Congratulations to you. A milestone that few players ever think to achieve.
True.
Never mind actually achieve. Looking back over the course of that, and lots of memories along the way, a pair of cups to boot. Are there people? Are there places? Are there moments that really kind of stick out to you? Are there one or two you can't help but recognize at this moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's. Listen, everything started with my parents, my family. They set a foundation, in me at a very young age, with work ethic and kindness and how to be a part of a team and always really drove that home as a young kid. So between that and my brothers and support growing up, I think that sets such a good foundation for you as you move up through the ranks and you're dealing with a bunch of different stuff. I was fortunate enough to be on a really older veteran group in Carolina my first year when we won. So I got to sit back and I got to watch Rod Brindamore and Glenn Wesley and Brett Hedican and Mark Recchi and Doug Waite, and the list goes on and on. Watch how they conduct themselves, watch how they were prepared for games and for practices and what it took to be an NHLer every day, and then obviously to accomplish the ultimate goal and the sacrifice that takes. So that was such a impactful way for me to start my career. Then I was able to go to Chicago and take a lot of what I learned from that situation and try to implement that with my teammates there and support them in those different ways and try to be a great example of what I saw firsthand a few years prior. So those two places, obviously pretty amazing start to be able to win 2 Stanley Cups. By the time I was into my fifth year, and then, I was able to take a lot of those lessons into places like, my last year in Atlanta and then become a captain and, the moment of having the NHL come back to Winnipeg and being the leader of that group through that process of organization finding its legs and figuring out the different aspects of being an NHL organization was a lot of fun and just really enjoyed the great people, not only in the organization, but around the city and how they really just take care of themselves or take care of each other, I should say. So, and then you go through getting back to Chicago and going to New York where things didn't work out for me and had a lot of adversity and faced a lot of different things that were uncomfortable for me. So I think every one of those different aspects shapes you in some way. And I think being able to reflect now and see how I finish off my career in Arizona could play more of a mentor role and how it's all come together. It just grateful for the opportunity and the people that I was able to interact with because it really shapes you as a person. It's that community you grow up through. Your relationships in the team and it shapes you as a human being. So I was fortunate to be around some great people.
Very thoughtful, reflective answer. I should have been listening more to the words, but I was paying attention to the reflection in the TV behind you. Are you in paradise right now? Because it looks like you're in paradise.
Oh yeah, well, if you would have saw it a couple of weeks ago, that whole mountainside was on fire. So I'm in Kelowna and definitely paradise to many, but we've had a couple tough weeks here, so it's finally started to settle down and life's getting back to normal.
Yeah, my parents make their home in Kelowna. I know exactly what you've been through. A really a tumultuous time over the course of the summer, without question. Andrew, for a guy that played 16 seasons, you've been around for, kind of a unique period of time. Back in the early 2000s to present tense, the game has changed a lot. The team concept has changed a good bit, and players as well. What are your impressions looking back over the course of your entire career? How has the game evolved, both on a specific level and just in terms of the way the game is played generally?
Yeah, I think that the biggest change would be the speed at which the game is played at. Not only the speed of the players, but also like the skill at which they do and make plays at now has gone up immensely. So, at a younger age, I felt like it was, more about grinding and positionally and getting to the net and really doing a lot of that dirty work, which lent itself to my game for sure. And then as it evolves and you start playing with more skilled players and younger guys and the speed of the game really picks up, it forces you to adapt as a player. So I think, the game's in a great spot now in terms of skill and speed and pace and excitement. And you look at a lot of the plays the young players can make. It's exciting to watch as a fan. So, I think those are probably the biggest things that have changed. But ultimately, in terms of winning the Stanley Cup, it comes down to playing really well as a group and having a strong defensive system and allowing the offense to take over when it can. So I don't know if it's changed that much in terms of a recipe for winning organizations. It's the teams that sacrifice and put their ego aside for the betterment of the group that ultimately ends up winning that Stanley Cup every time.
Spoken like a team player in the ultimate team sport. A lot of people wondering, now that you're hanging up the skates and your playing career is over, what's next for Andrew Ladd?
Yeah, it's an interesting spot to be in because you get to ask yourself, hey, what do I want to do now? And after being told what to do and where to be for the majority of your life, it can be an uncomfortable place to be. So I've spent, being injured last year, I spent a lot of the time thinking about what was next. And our foundation is doing some amazing things and created a great program that focuses on the mental well-being of young kids and how to really give them the skills and the tools to develop that part of them as human beings and as hockey players. So 1616.org, it's actually, we're taking registrations. It's a free program for U13 hockey players anywhere across North America, where they get to interact with a lot of cool stories from, men and women pro hockey players and what they've been through, so that, we can impact the next generation of young hockey players in our game. So that's been a big focus of mine, not only as I've transitioned into not playing, but even previous to that. So super passionate about that and trying to push that forward as much as I can.
We are so proud of what you're doing. It's just another step along the way of why we admire hockey players. Your perspective is really refreshing. Thanks so much for joining us, and congratulations on an awesome career.